What is going on, everyone? Badger here. Should like and sub, and let's get into this. Unfortunately, pattern recognition and just horrible release after horrible release phrasing has made us really not look forward to any games and assume the worst on all of them. And then, of course, all of the franchises have had those horrible depictions. And so our collective will to want to go back to those worlds is pretty low. It's happened to Lord of the Rings from Rings of Power and Star Wars, and of course, Indiana Jones. And so while we were all apt to believe that this was going to be a super woke, horrible game because this person was involved in
For
it,
a modern gaming audience,
I've really enjoyed myself with it. I mean, it's not woke. The female companion is likable. All the statements that we took with the worst interpretation could have been taken with the best interpretation. But the problem is the damage has been done, and now no one's playing it. And as we've learned, you need millions of cells of units to even be profitable, even with Game Pass, and free, basically. If you have Game Pass, I mean, you're paying, they collected it all together, essentially. So if you have an Xbox subscription, you're paying for Game Pass. And most people have it for the PC Game Pass if you have the means. So it's there, it's available, and only 12,000 people were in game. Looking like that's probably not going to go too much higher. I've enjoyed myself with the game. That being said, it's not what I thought, and we'll talk about that in a second. You can see the comparisons to Dragon Age Veilguard, where it got a day one spike, and that's it. But other than that, the interest and engagement, or however they want to say that, is very low. We had Andy Pants Gaming here explaining that the game is not woke. And so far, I'm 4 hours in. The first entire part of the game is set in the Vatican, where there's different outfits, and most of it behooves you to do stealth, and then it's fisticuffs. And I very rarely did I ever feel the urge to bring out my gun, and it was only one time when I really fucked up and I couldn't reload or run away, and I had 6 people I had to fight, and so I just pulled out my gun and I shot it. So anyway, I started blasting. But other than that, it is mostly a stealth, fisticuffs, exploring, hardcore parkour from a first person's perspective. I'm really enjoying myself. It's just not what I thought it was going to be. And I think most people, if they just want action, shoot 'em up, they will be disappointed. So he says, if you think about what myself and others do on these channels, we are begging companies to go back to normal ass video games. Stop pushing political agendas, just tell classic stories. Stop inserting 2024 politics. And I've got to give them credit. They gave us what we've been asking for. It's not much, but it's a start. 100%. I'm not going to call the Great Circle base, but it feels like a classic return to focus on fun in games. And there is barely a whiff of modern politics in the 25 hours that I've played. So I played about 4 or 5 of those hours. Correct. Not a fucking whiff. The couple of things I maybe could point to, but would be nitpicking. Like one of the priests that you work with, Father Alberto, he has like a hearing aid, a 1930s hearing aid that I had to go look up if they even existed and if it was that small. But whatever. These are video game conceits, and whether that was just for the nuance of the character or so they could say that they had someone with a disability, whatever. It is barely noticeable. I mean, you could really reach and say Tony Todd because he's black as the main villain, who seems to be a Nephilim, a fallen angel, whatever. It would be reachy. For the most part, it's not woke. It's a good game. And Gina wasn't insufferable. I kind of liked her. She had a Catwoman vibe to her. Gary, of course, friend of the channel, pointed out that this is because you just ruined Indiana Jones with your horrible, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, fine. But then you did that Dial of Destiny, and that nuked any and all goodwill, because at least at the end of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, he had a son and he was married. And even if you thought the swinging around and the monkey thing and the fridge and the nuke stuff was dumb, he at least was treated with respect. So and this guy, this is the one, we've been playing it for months. This guy paranoid everyone.
For a modern gaming audience.
But it was made for, and by the actual modern, just a modern group of people. The gameplay was as expected. I did feel like I was playing a 10-year-old game, and I mean that in the best way possible. And this is the one that I think also got everyone, with the Gina Lombardi, the female character. They said, and sounded condescending if you give it best, where she was like, see if you can keep up. But it was, I would now describe that as playful banter. They said Gina is the perfect ally for Indy. She's endlessly curious. Correct. Now, I've only worked with her for about an hour. She's searching for her sister. I swear to God, I was like, let it say it's her lesbian girlfriend. Oh, and it turned out to be her sister that she's saving. She's basically an investigative journalist, so she had a little bit of Lois Lane vibes. And then if you wanted to go that route, yeah, she did knock out a couple of guards, and I was like, wow, okay. Didn't really explain how she knew how to fight that well and generate that much power, but that's fine. It's a video game. And she knows how to pick locks, but that's fine. Very happy she knows how to pick locks. She not only challenges and assists the player, correct, but also serves as an intellectual equal to Indy, bringing depth to the adventure. She's not an idiot, is what that means. She does not know half of what Indiana is talking about, but she's able to keep up with what he's doing, and she doesn't hinder him, or she hasn't hindered me, and I would be resentful if I was saddled with an NPC. She's kept up, and I appreciate that. But I also felt like I was in control in all of my interactions. I ended up saving her and fighting this big motherfucker that I knocked out quite quickly. Just saying, she's not insufferable. Gina adds a personal dimension to the story, making the journey about more than just adding or finding another artifact for a museum, of which I've done plenty. I believe players are really going to connect with her and root for her story. I did sort of connect with her. I did root for her, and I do want Indy to bang her. By banger, I mean me. Yeah, and so here we can, and I'm sort of co-sign what Andy's about to say here. I don't recommend buying this. I would play it on Game Pass. Yeah, play it on Game Pass. Obviously, Microsoft has a lot of horrible people working for them, and they're still corrupted. So the fact that so far this has slipped out is absolutely insane. But yeah, right down here is really what I would say. If you really love Indiana Jones and you want to play an interactive movie, it is a fucking interactive movie. Can stomach the first person perspective, which you see a lot of third person. Almost every movement will push you back out into third person, climbing, swinging. I was like, so why did you just, anyway, for the exploring, because you have to look at things and solve puzzles. That's why it's in first person. I get it. And you're okay with a bit of a walking simulator gameplay. This is the one for you. However, if you were hoping for loads of actions, loads of guns, or an open world to explore, this is not the game for you. Yeah, correct. It is not an open world where you can just go wherever. It's open-ish, like in the Vatican, where there's different levels and there's way to get to each one, and you maybe need to find an outfit to get here. So I like it. I like Indiana Jones. Troy Baker does a really good Harrison voice, and every once in a while I felt like I was watching. If this was a movie, I think it would be a good one. So yeah, I guess I recommend it if you have Game Pass or really like Indiana Jones. But yeah, but if you wanted to come in and just start whipping people and shooting Yahtzees, this ain't for you. This ain't for you, because it's going to take some substantial work before you're even able to get to all that type of gameplay. Anyway, you let me know what you think about all this. Make sure to like, share, and sub. If you have done that, thank you. If you're going to do that, thank you. And
well, bye.